RKOBeats.com.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Captain Ahparayam, representing Israel United in Christ. We're here today at the Christopher Columbus exhibit that's being held in Newburgh, New York. Okay, sponsored by the town of Newburgh in New York. And over here you see a statue of Christopher Columbus. Okay, this is the man that began the enslaving the so-called Hispanics. Okay, and those men and women, our forefathers from the Caribbean, okay, North, Central, and South America. Okay, he was the pioneer, the first person that put the so-called Hispanics into slavery first, okay, in 1492. And as you can see here in the statue, okay, like the scripture says, okay, in Psalms, you know, they name streets after themselves, they name the lands after themselves. They're idolizing, okay, and commemorating, okay, a damn demon, okay, that enslaved our people. Okay, again, back in 1492. And the interesting thing about it is that it has names here of all the people that contributed to keep this exhibit going and to keep, you know, who had sponsored this, okay? And the interesting thing is that all the names that are here on this statue are all names of Edomites, Caucasians, white people, okay? And even though we don't, you know, may have Spanish last names, okay, because our conquerors were the Spaniards, okay? Remember, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand were from Spain. Christopher Columbus was from Italy. They sponsored his journey over here to the Americas, okay, in the Caribbean islands, which we all know through history that didn't turn out too well for us. Okay, the whole purpose of that was to go ahead and find the true Israelites, who are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, because you're gonna see as we go through this exhibit, Christopher Columbus knew, he read the Bible, and he understood that 2nd Ezra 13, okay, 40 to 48 was talking about, okay, the 10 tribes that had left, okay, Jerusalem, okay, in the Middle East area and come over here to America. So again, the interesting thing is that, okay, he's not our people, man. Okay, we honor him and worship him every Christopher Columbus day, okay, not realizing that this guy's a demon, okay, a very evil man that destroyed and came with what they would call conquistadors, which in English that just means to conquer. He came with people to conquer us as a people and our lands. But of course, as you read the Bible in Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, you'll see that those are the curses that the Most High put on us, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because we refuse to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. So as we walk through this exhibit, we're going to go next to the Nina and the Pinta. They were exact replicas, okay, of the Nina and the Pinta, okay. And so we're going to go on there. We're going to take a journey there, and we're also going to go over some more history of our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the destruction that the Spaniards, led by Christopher Columbus, did to us as a nation. Okay? Okay, so here we are at the other side of the statue that we referred to earlier, okay? And I'm going to read to you exactly what it says here, all right? And it's the irony behind the statements that I made here, okay, when it comes to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, in particular the so-called Hispanics, okay? says here, this is the Newburgh chapter of Unico National, October 11, 1992. So that's when this statue here was erected. Okay, it says in celebration of the 500th anniversary commemorating the vision, courage, determination, and voyages of Christopher Columbus. So again, you're going to see that they idolize this man, but the ones that idolize him, okay, predominantly, and rightfully so in their case, because Columbus was not a Hispanic, okay, he was an Italian, a European, all right. They commemorating this man because as a result of his voyage, okay, the so-called white people, the so-called Caucasians, Edomites in the Bible, okay, is their biblical name, Edom, okay, came here and offered the blood of our forefathers, our brothers and sisters, Native Americans, the Tainos, so-called Tainos, okay. They built the lands in the Caribbean. They took over this land that was given to us, okay, when you read 2nd Ezra 6, okay, this land, when you read 2nd Ezra 13, the land of Ahparayam is what we was known as America, okay, and on this demon's journey was what destroyed us as a people, okay. So I'm going to continue reading. So it says, again, in celebration of the 500th anniversary commemorating the vision, courage, determination, and voyages of Christopher Columbus and the crews of the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I'm going to stop right there because what's interesting is that Christopher Columbus came with what's called the conquistadors. Okay, the word conquistar means to conquer in English. Okay, so he came with nothing but bad intentions. Okay, because again, like I mentioned earlier, he knew that the so-called Hispanics, the 10 tribes of Israel, okay, the true Israelites, the true Jews, were here on this part of the earth, okay, which we know today as North Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands. Okay, so it says, and the crews of the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, so they're honoring those demons, okay, those conquerors, okay, whose gallantry, okay, so they're saying it was a gallant effort, and it was for the so-called white people, not for the Hispanics. That was the beginning of our demise as a nation. Resulted in the joining of two worlds, okay, that's why they call this the New World, okay, newfound land. That's what the word Ahparayam in the Bible means, okay, newfound land, all right, and he knew that we were living over here because he read the Bible. When you see a movie called 1492, The Conquest of Paradise, there's a scene in the first, I believe it's in the 6th minute of the movie, where Christopher Columbus is trying to get permission from the priests to sanction the journey over to the Americas. And he tells the priests, ask him, how do you know there's anybody even there? He says, because the prophet Ezra says it. And he says Ezra is a Jew. Okay, so the prophet Ezra in the book of 2nd Ezra 13:40-48 explains, okay, that we were going to be living here and that Christopher Columbus was going to come, knew that and came over to the Americas. Okay, and like I said before, that was the beginning of the demise of the 10 tribes of Israel. All right, so it continues saying, gallantry resulted in the joining of the two worlds. Okay, then unknown to each other. All right, they were unknown unto each other because remember they thought the world was flat. Life all started in the Middle East, okay, in the eastern hemisphere of the world. Okay, that's another reason why they didn't want to sanction it, because according to their theories, the world was flat, and if he kept going further away from the lands, okay, he would fall off, is what they thought, but they thought the world was flat. So that's what the joining of the two worlds, then unknown to each other. Okay, that's why again the Bible calls it Ahparayam. When you go to JewishEncyclopedia.com, look up the word Ahparayam, spell it with a Z, A-R-Z-A-R-E-T-H. You'll see the definition of it. Okay, JewishEncyclopedia.com. And it explains that Christopher Columbus identified that land, which is North Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands, okay, with Ahparayam, with the land that it was prophesied that the so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, were going to end up living in the last days, as well as the so-called blacks. So it says, we, the members of Unico of Newburgh, okay, that's an Edomite club membership society of Newburgh, and generous friends inscribed hereon. So like I mentioned earlier, all the names that are there, the generous friends is referring to are all Edomites, all Caucasians. They're the ones who donated to erect this exhibit. Okay, inscribed hereon, dedicate this monument to the spirit of exploration, okay, exhibited by the gallant Americans. Does it say Hispanics? Does it say blacks? Does it say Native Americans? Okay, no, it says gallant Americans, talking about the Europeans, which includes, yes, the Pilgrims as well. Okay, when they came over in the 1600s to destroy our brothers and sisters of the tribe of Gad and Reuben. Okay, gallant Americans here from every nation meaning from Europe. Okay, all the Europeans. Okay, it says a special thanks and gratitude to the leaders who directed our chapter through this great and worthy effort we record for posterity. They're not talking about the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans there. Their posterity. They're honoring what the Bible says in Psalms 64 and 49. Okay, that they name lands after themselves. This is all what this man did was exactly what Alexander the Greek did. He unified the Edomites and he went ahead and created an opportunity for them to further their rulership. So now we're going to go over to the two replicas of the Nina and the Pinta. Okay, so we can show you how the ships look, and we can show you based on not only the Bible first and foremost that talks about the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, we are the true Israelites, but also you have scholars that have written books regarding Christopher Columbus and the destruction he did to our people. This book is called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald R. Sanders. Okay, and it explains in here that Christopher Columbus came with Hebrew translators to America. Why did he come with Hebrew translators? Because he understood that the 10 tribes of Israel were here. The true Israelites were here. The true Jews were here. Okay, when you read 2 Ezra 13. Okay, also, he brought the Hebrew translators because, again, we didn't speak Spanish. Okay, that language was forced on us by the Spaniards over time once Christopher Columbus started coming here. All right, and then the Flame of Resistance talks about the demise of the so-called Puerto Ricans, and this also includes all the Hispanic, so-called Hispanic races, okay, who are the 10 tribes of Israel, okay, their destruction, okay, that the so-called white man has done to our people. Okay, the Caucasians, their biblical name in the Bible is called Edom. So let's go over to the ships and check them out. In front of the exhibit, this is the Nina and the Pinta. These are replicas. These are not the actual ships, but these are replicas that they recreated for the 500th anniversary. Okay, Christopher Columbus' journey here to America. Okay, now what you're witnessing here, okay, is history. All right, even though it's a replica, it's history, and we're going to take you through that journey of what our forefathers went through. Okay, these ships were used for slave ships as well to take our forefathers back to Spain. Okay, when they enslaved us, okay, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, so these are the actual ships, okay, that the Christopher Columbus, okay, took our people back to Spain and, okay, and enslaved us. All right, so we're going to walk you through the ship. This right here is the Pinta. As you can see, there's a sign here. This is the boat, the Pinta. Remember, there was three: the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. You may remember they used to make us sing that stupid song about the three ships in school. Okay. See over here. So interestingly enough, okay, it says crew only, please, but underneath these ships is where the slaves were, okay, the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. This is where they would bring us back to Spain, okay, and change our customs, take away our heritage from us. This is where it took us back. That's what the certain books called curios, okay, which come from the word curiosity. They brought curiosity to the Spaniards, okay, and what they did is they brought us back in these ships. And underneath here is where they had all of us, where they had all of us stored. I'm going to use it like that because they had us as like cattle, like products, okay, in the slave ships. It wasn't only the so-called blacks, okay, that were brought on slave ships, okay, and brought from Africa here, west side of Africa, here to the Americas, but we were also brought from here back to Spain and taught the customs of Spain. That's why we speak Spanish today. Remember, the word Spanish means to be like something, because the word ish, I-S-H, when you look in the dictionary, it means to have the characteristics of. So you so-called Hispanics are not Spanish. You're not Spaniard. Okay, you're the Israelites, the 10 tribes of Israel that the Bible speaks of. All that information you'll find in these two books here. okay, and many more books, but these are just two that I brought along for this journey to go back and learn your history, your true nationality, your true heritage, which is the heritage of an Israelite, okay, the true Jews. Okay, so now we're on the ship the Pinta, all right? So we're just going to read what this sign says. It says, "Welcome on board the Pinta. She's 85 feet long and weighs 100 tons." Okay, she, like the Nina, okay, which is the other ship we're going to go on next, all right, was built in Brazil. Okay, now we know that one of the tribes of Israel was Asher, okay, and it covers that area. So these ships were actually built, okay, in Brazil by our forefathers, okay, Asher, right, from the tribe of Asher, the Israelites. So, my 8th generation Portuguese shipwrights out of Brazilian hardwoods. Her construction took 20 men, 36 months. She was completed in 2005. That's talking about this one here, okay, not the actual ships that Columbus. Remember, this is a replica. But our own, ironically, okay, our own forefathers built this. The same ones that were put on these ships as slaves sent back to Spain, okay, by Christopher Columbus. All right. She was completed in 2005. All right. So again, the reason why the so-called white people do this is because they want to instill in their minds of the generations that they're still in power, they're still in rulership. Okay, so this is a reminder to everybody, okay, who's of European descent that we still conquering here. Okay, that's why they put the statue over there of Christopher Columbus. Okay, because that's they're a pioneer. Okay, not ours, the Hispanics, Native Americans, and blacks. Okay. So it says the ship is actually 15 feet long and 6 feet. The main thing I want to get here, it took Columbus and his men about 30 days to sail from the coast of Spain to the Canary Islands, which is right off of Spain. So that means from there, he already knew in 2nd Ezra 13, okay, that it took the Israelites a year and a half to come from the Euphrates all the way underneath the continent of Africa to North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean islands. Okay, but he already knew that. Remember, they had bigger, faster ships at that time also. Okay, because we were already here on this side of the world in 539, 538 BC. Okay, that's, again, you read that in the Bible. All right. Now, he took from the Canary Islands. It took him 30 days. He refueled, he restocked, they regrouped. Then from there was a straight shot, okay, to the first island that he landed was the island of what he called Hispaniola, but it was the Hebrew word for it is Quisqueya, which is Santo Domingo, where the Dominicans live, who are the tribe of Simeon, okay, one of the 10 tribes of Israel. Okay. So, in addition to that, I'm going to read to show you that that's historically correct, and that, like I mentioned before, that he knew that the indigenous people that were here on this part of the hemisphere, in the Western Hemisphere, North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands, were the Israelites the Bible speaks of. That's you so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Okay, so I'm going to read to you again from the book Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. Okay, it says, we do not know much concerning Columbus' crew of about 90 men. As you can see here, that's accurate because he said each ship had 26. Okay. Columbus' crew of about 90 men aboard the 3 ships, but at least one of them was an Israelite, whose presence as such was not merely accidental. So why did, again, like I mentioned earlier, why did Columbus bring an Israelite, Hebrew translators? Because he knew that the indigenous people that were on this part of the earth were the true Israelites, the true Jews the Bible speaks of. So he brought translators, okay, to be able to communicate with the true Hebrews, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans on this side of the earth. Okay, that's all historical fact here that the scholars wrote. We didn't write this book, the white scholars wrote this. Okay, so it says that one of them was an Israelite whose presence as such was not merely accidental. This was Luis del Torres, okay, who again, his name was Luis del Torres because like today in America, we take up American names or Hispanic names as a result of our slave masters changing our names, okay, to brand us that we were that they owned us, okay. In addition to that, he understood Hebrew, okay, because he was a Jew, okay. So this was Luis Torres, a convert possibly only that year, who had once held a position with the governor of Murcia. He was said to have known Hebrew, Aramaic, and some Arabic. So I stand corrected. This was actually a convert. Okay, he was a European who converted over, okay, to our customs, to the true Israelites. Okay, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, all right. He was said to have known Hebrew, Aramaic, and some Arabic, and had been brought along by Columbus specifically as an interpreter. Okay, that's here in the book. So why would Columbus bring Hebrew translators? Okay, if we spoke Spanish on this part of the earth, okay, because we're the true Israelite, we're the 10 tribes that the Bible speaks of. When you read 2nd Ezra 13, 40 to 48 again, okay, you'll see that shows how we got to this part of the earth. Okay. All right. Again, lost tribes and promised land. Also in the Flame of Resistance, this book it explains. Okay, as well. The atrocities and the murder that Christopher Columbus and his men did, the Europeans. People that a lot of you Hispanics like to say that you are, we're from Spain. You're not from Spain, okay? That Spain is in Europe, which means you would be European, okay? But you're not. You're one of the 10 tribes of Israel, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. Over here we have the history of the original painting. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. It says, Prince Henry the Navigator, born in 1394, was the third child of King John I of Portugal and Philip of Lancaster, all Europeans, the daughter of John of Gaunt. Henry encouraged his father to conquer Quetta. Okay, so again, that's why Columbus came with conquistadors, to conquer. Okay, understand the Bible talks about that. The Caucasians, the whites, the white people, they always got everything through conquering lands. Okay, that was the blessing that was given to Esau, who's the biblical name for the so-called Caucasians, the so-called white men and women. All right, so the blessing that Isaac gave him was that he was going to live in the dew of heaven and the fatness of the lands, and by the sword he shall live. So everything they've taken, okay, the Europeans, okay, who are Edom in the Bible, okay, was through conquering. Okay, that's the blessing that was given to them. All right, so everything they've taken, when you look at the history of America, they made over 300 treaties with the Native American Indians, and they faltered on they defaulted on every single one of those treaties. And the blood of our forefathers was what this country, America, and the rest of the North Central South America was built on. Okay, so it says the Muslim port on the both African coast across the Straits of Gibraltar, the Moorish, who are the Israelites. Okay, Moors comes from the word moreno, okay, which is a Latin word for black. Okay, so when you read in history about the Moors, it's talking about the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So it says the Moorish port of Quetta had been the base for Barbary pirates that continually attacked the Portuguese coast, depopulating villages by capturing their inhabitants to be sold in the African slave market. Now again, that's a misnomer because you so-called blacks, okay, are not African, okay, because the Africans who come from Ham were the ones that sold you to the Portuguese, okay, it was the Arabs that also sold us, okay, to the Europeans, right? So Henry wanted to stop the pirate attacks, but the ships that sailed the Mediterranean at that time were too slow and too heavy to make these voyages. Under his direction, a new and much lighter ship was developed, the Caravel, which is actually the Pinta, which would allow sea captains to sail further, faster, and much more efficiently. In 1477, Columbus was in Lisbon, Portugal, learning many useful things from his Portuguese shipmates, who were the world's finest mariners of that era. He was among people who could teach him Portuguese and Castilian, the languages of far-ranging seamen, Latin to read the geographical works of the past. So you see, a lot of y'all think that you were born speaking Spanish. Okay, you don't realize that throughout history, okay, these two books break it down. Okay, you were forced to learn the Spanish tongue, the Latin tongue, to be more exact. Okay, we always spoke Hebrew. We did not speak Spanish. Geographical works of the past, mathematics and astronomy for celestial navigation, shipbuilding and rigging, and above all, discovery. Okay, that's your true nationality, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're the Israelites, the true Jews, the Bible speaks. Go over some history, okay, from the Bible first and foremost, and to cross-reference it with independent books written by white scholars, okay, and the Hispanics, okay, who know their history, their true history, okay, and talk about the destruction that the Christopher Columbus and his conquistadors did to our people. Okay, we're going to show you that the Bible, okay, which is the one true book, okay, this book here matches up directly with the scriptures in the Bible, okay, to prove that you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true Israelites, the true Jews the Bible speaks of. So I'm going to start with the back over here, which has an overview of what this book is going to be about. Okay, the name of the book is Puerto Rico, the Flame of Resistance. Okay, just the name and just the title itself tells you that it's something that our people, okay, went through very harsh. Okay, so it says Puerto Rico, the Flame of Resistance begins 500 years ago. Okay, when Puerto Rico was the homeland of the Borinquen Indians. Now, when you know history, you know that the word Borinquen, okay, is a Hebrew word because that's what we spoke. It means land of the brave lords. Okay, the word Boricua means brave, bravo. Okay, the word Taino means buena gente. All Hebrew words. Okay, so it says resistance to Spanish colonialism. Okay, so a lot of you think you're Spanish, okay, but you're not. This book right here is telling you that the Spanish, okay, they colonized our land, the land that was given to us by the Most High God when you read 2nd Ezra 13, 40 to 48. Okay, colonialism means that you come and you colonize and you take over someone else's land. Okay, so it says resistance to Spanish colonialism. Because why resistance? Because we didn't want them to come to our land. It's like if you own your house and somebody comes in and says, you know what, I'm taking, your house from you. That's exactly how it was when the Spaniards came over. They just came and took our land from us. Okay, and it wasn't that we gave it to them like some historians like to say. Okay, they actually took it by brute force, as it was prophesied in the Bible. The Europeans, the white people, would take every land that they owned. Okay, nothing is theirs. Okay, they're vagabonds, and they took everything that they own, okay, by force. All right. So it says, resistance to Spanish colonialism sparked the flame that is burning today in the Puerto Rican independence movement. In Puerto Rico, flame of resistance, you'll read about the U.S. government's seizure of the island as a colony. Okay, but that actually started in 1492 when Christopher Columbus came. The monopolization of sugar by U.S. corporations and the more recent industrialization of the island. Alarming statistics about life in Puerto Rico under U.S. domination, okay, such as 40% unemployed and 35% of all women of childbearing age sterilized, gives the reader the basis to understand the steady growth of the independence forces on the island, from the early labor struggles to the development of the Nationalist Party. Okay, from the Wahuya uprising to the growth of the independence movement today, this book recognizes the important role in the U.S. can play to help bring independent self-determination in Puerto Rico. So, let's go to the first chapter here, and we're going to show you that the Bible prophesied all of these destruction to our people that was going to happen. Okay, I'll read this, and then you can read the scriptures in the Bible. All right, so start out. This is on page 2 for those of you who can get this book. By the way, this book, I got this for $30. You go online now, it's $1,000, $2,000. So you got to ask yourself, why is a book, okay, that hardly nobody knew about until us, the true Israelites, started bringing out our true nationality? Why did it jump from $35, $30 all the way to $1,000, $2,000 even? Okay, it's very hard to find. Okay, that's by design so that we won't know our true history. So we won't know that, okay, the Spaniards, okay, were actually the enemy. Okay, we're not Spaniards. All right, so it starts off by saying there is an old Latin American legend about a foreign tyrant who tried to bury the truth. Okay, give me John 8:32. Okay, so there was an old foreign tyrant. Okay, foreign why? Because they weren't our people. They were the Spaniards. Okay, Europeans. Okay, who tried to bury the truth. Now, what's significant about that when it comes to the Bible? Because Christ said something very profound in the New Testament. Read.
John chapter 8, verse 32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Okay, so Christ said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Okay, we out here as commanded by the Most High God, as prophesied by the Most High God, that in the last days, the true children of Israel, the true Israelites, or you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, would come out and bring out this truth of who we are, okay, of what we need to do to get everlasting salvation, which is follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, so going back to this, Christ said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. There was an old Latin American legend about a foreign tyrant who tried to bury the truth. Okay, see, the European so-called white man has tried to bury this truth from you so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans for many years. Okay, because they understand Bible prophecy, a lot of them. Predominantly the elite. Okay, but a lot of them understand that once Christ returns, their rulership is over. That's why in 2 Ezra 6 it says...
2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
Okay, because once Christ returns, okay, so-called white man is not going to be in rulership anymore. Okay, Jacob, our forefather of the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, the true Israelites, will be in rulership again. So that's why they hide in this truth. Okay, that's why in the school system they portray Christopher Columbus as being a hero. That's why they like to say, that, oh, well, we're Spanish. We're not. Okay, we're going to prove that in the Bible. All right, so it says, there is an old Latin American legend about a foreign tyrant who tried to bury the truth. This tyrant used arms to conquer another nation. Okay, that's why he came with the conquistadors, Christopher Columbus did. All right, to conquer, okay, another nation. The nation of Israel is the nation that it's referring to. He enslaved the people and forced them to work for his benefits. Listen to the words. He enslaved them and forced them to work for his benefits. So yes, you so-called Hispanics, y'all were in slavery. Y'all were in slavery first back in 1492 before the so-called blacks, who are your brothers and sisters. Okay, so from there, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Let's start at 49 and 50. Okay, we're going to show you who that nation was. That was prophecy in the Bible thousands of years prior to what had happened.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
Now it uses the word swift as the eagle flieth. Okay, you read earlier in the signs before that they made this ship lighter because it could be faster. That's the swiftness. So this ship came quick. Okay, as the eagle fly. Why did he use the eagle? Okay, because the symbol of the Spaniards, okay, you look at their coins, all right, the symbol of the Spaniards was the eagle. The symbol of America is the eagle. The symbol of Greece was the eagle. The symbol of Rome was the eagle. Every Edomite Caucasian nation that has conquered the Israelites, their symbol was the eagle. So the Bible is a true book. We're going to see that as we continue to go. It said a nation of fierce countenance come over here as swift as the eagle fly, right?
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not
It
understand.
says a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Why? Because you heard me earlier in this documentary mention that we spoke Hebrew. I showed you in the book Lost Tribes and Promised Lands that Columbus brought Hebrew translator with him. Why would he bring a Hebrew translator if we spoke Spanish already over here? Okay, he understood the Bible. He understood that the true Israelites, the true Jews, were on this part of the earth. Okay, the 10 tribes. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance.
A nation of fierce countenance. What did it say here? This tyrant used arms to conquer another nation. He enslaved the people and forced them to work for his benefit. That's another nation. Spain was a nation of fierce countenance. Go ahead.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Because when Christopher Columbus came with the conquistadors, he didn't care about the old. Okay, they destroyed the old and the young. There's plenty of pictures showing the Spaniards taking babies as they were born and young children by the legs and slamming them up against the rocks. That's in a book called American Holocaust in Bartolomé de las Casas. All right, go ahead.
Verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
They shall go into captivity. Let's read this again. This is what happened to the so-called Puerto Ricans and all the Latin tribes. Okay, the Latin people. Okay, it says the tyrant used arms to conquer another nation. He enslaved the people and forced them to work for his benefit. Okay, the scripture says he was going to take, what does it say?
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them.
Why?
For they shall go into captivity.
Captivity is another word for slavery. That's in this book here too. Okay, showing you that the Bible is a true book. Okay, all right, from there, let's go to 2nd Ezra 13, because I made some profound statements that the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans are make up the 10 tribes of Israel. Okay, so how did we get to this part of the world, the Eastern Hemisphere? How did Columbus know that we were already here? Okay, read.
2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
So it's going to talk, the topic here is the 10 tribes, okay? It's going to explain to you who the 10 tribes are.
Whom Salmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
That further country where never mankind dwelt is referring to North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands. Nobody inhabited this land. All life started in the Middle East, and the Western and the Eastern Hemisphere. Okay, the Most High created this part of the world for the Israelites. Okay, predominantly you so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Okay,
that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
All right, so our intention was to come over here and keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Okay, go ahead.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
All right, so it's describing now the journey that they took to come to the Eastern Hemisphere, North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood.
Okay, the signs are the stars. Okay, that's how they navigated to come over here, and he held the waters calm so that their journey could be safe.
Till they were passed over.
Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go.
So to get over here, okay, to the country, okay, the Western Hemisphere, North, Central, South America, Caribbean islands, there was a great way to go.
Namely, of a year and a half.
So when you look at the map, okay, you'll see that from the Tigris-Euphrates River, they had to go all the way around Africa, okay, the continent of Africa, to the bottom of the continent of Africa, which today is South Africa. And from there, they started dropping off the tribes, okay, in the Caribbean, South America, Central America, North America. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arzareth.
Same reason it's called Arzareth. Okay, now when you go to JewishEncyclopedia.com and you type in Arzareth, Arzareth, you're gonna see that Columbus knew, okay, that this part of the world, okay, was inhabited by the true Jews, the true Israelites. Go ahead. That's it for there? Okay. So now it continues to say, the tyrant ordered the people to give up the truth. He sent his soldiers into the land to gather the truth. Some citizens refused to surrender what was rightfully theirs, and they were shot or jailed. Why did we refuse to surrender what was rightfully ours? Because the land was ours. Okay? So the conquistadors, led by Christopher Columbus, they came over here and they tried to take the truth. What truth was that? That the true Jews, true Israelites, are the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Give me Deuteronomy 28, 31, and 33. Let's show you how the Bible, Deuteronomy 28, 31 to 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 28,
31 to 33.
and verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Now who?
Thine ox shall be slain before thine
Okay, 'cause
eyes,
when they came, they killed all our food source. Okay, cattle, animals. Go ahead.
and thou shalt not eat thereof.
We shall not eat thereof because they came and they devoured all of our food. They says there's books that say that they ate enough for what, 6 people?
6 families.
6 families. That's how much one European ate. Okay. Go ahead.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face.
How would they be taken away?
Violently
Violently. Go ahead.
taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
Okay, so how did they take that away before our face? Did they ask for it? No, like it says here in the book. Some citizens refused to surrender what was rightfully theirs, and they were shot or jailed. So they shot or they killed or they put us in jail. Okay, our forefathers. Go ahead.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
Okay, they took everything, all our resources from us. Go ahead.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
There you go again. They were given to another people, the nation of Spain. Okay, when they enslaved us. Okay, go ahead.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
Okay, why? Because the Most High is one of the curses from our finding law, statutes, and commandment was He was going to make us weak. We were always very strong and powerful, but in that particular instance, the Most High made us weak so that we could not fight against Him. Understand something? Okay, there was hundreds of thousands of us already here in these islands. When you read earlier in the signs, they only came with 3 ships. They came with roughly about 60, maybe 70 people. Those 70 people were the beginning of the destruction of tens of thousands of our forefathers, okay, and foremothers. Okay, that's it.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
Okay, is that it on that?
Yes.
Okay, Genesis 49, 22 to 23. Okay, we're just showing you that by the whole Bible, everything that happened in our history, is all in the Bible. Right? That's Bible prophecy. Okay.
Genesis 49, verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow.
Okay, so I'm going to prove to you now in this scripture that Puerto Ricans, okay, like in this book here, okay, are from the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, they're the head tribe of the Northern Kingdom. All right, I'm going to prove to you that the Bible, that you are in the Bible, not as a Puerto Rican, but as your biblical name, who is Ephraim. Okay, who our father was Joseph, who had 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay.
Even a fruitful bow by a well.
Okay, so why does it say Joseph is a fruitful bow? Because Puerto Ricans, by nature, okay, we have a lot of children. Okay, we're very fruitful. I mean, there's sayings that I've heard Puerto Rican women say, "Oh, a man just looks at me and I could come out pregnant." Okay, we're very fruitful. That's a blessing from the Most High, because children are a blessing. Okay, according to the Most High God. So it says a fruitful bow.
Joseph is a fruitful bow.
Okay, bow is another word for a tree. Okay, so we're a fruitful tree. Go ahead.
Even a fruitful bow by a well.
Even a fruitful bow by a well. Why? Because the island of Puerto Rico is surrounded by water. Okay, so it's using similitudes, okay, metaphors, analogies, all right, to let us know, give us clues that it's talking about the so-called Puerto Ricans. Go ahead.
Whose branches run over the wall.
The branches is referring to, when you read the Bible, okay, it's referring to the daughters. Okay, so our daughters went over the wall. What's the famous wall in Puerto Rico? El Morro. Okay, that was built by slave labor. Okay, the Spaniards had that built to protect, okay, their investment, which were us, the slaves. Okay, they went over the wall. What I mean, they went over the wall. They went over to go ahead and mix, okay, with the Europeans, which is why you see some of us light skinned, okay, some of us different shades. Okay, go ahead.
The archers have sorely grieved him.
The archers, what's that referring to? That's referring to their cannons, okay, their arrows. When they came to conquer, sorely grieved us. Why? Because they used that, like we read here in this book, okay, to go ahead and conquer us. If we didn't let them take over our land, whatever, they shot us or jailed us. Go ahead.
The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him.
Okay, let me read that again from the book. Some citizens refused to surrender what was rightfully theirs, and they were shot or jailed. All Bible prophecy. I want you to go down to 33.
But his bow abode in strength.
But a bow abode in strength, meaning the Most High gave us enough strength so that we would not be, so genocide would not come upon the so-called Hispanics. He gave us enough so that we could still fight them off, but we would still be destroyed as a nation. Go ahead.
And the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob.
Okay, there you go. The Most High gave us enough power to survive as a nation. Because when you read Jeremiah 31:35, he says, as long as the sun, the moon, and the ordinances exist, the nation of Israel will not cease.
From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel.
That shepherd, the stone of Israel, is talking about Christ, the black Messiah, our Savior.
Even by the God of thy father who shall help thee, and by the Almighty who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under.
Okay. Why blessings from heaven above? Because the weather's beautiful in the Caribbean, okay, in the island of Puerto Rico. And by the deep, why? Because there was a lot of riches, okay, in those deep waters. That's why they call it Puerto Rico, rich port. That was the name was given by Christopher Columbus. It says that when he landed, he saw the beauty of Puerto Rico, and he said, "Ay, que Puerto Rico! Oh, what a rich port." Okay, they would force our forefathers to dig down in the water, okay, to go ahead and get the pearls and get the riches from the water. And if we came up without the pearls, they would go ahead and push us back down. Many of our forefathers died trying to go ahead and get the riches that were in the water for the Europeans. Okay, Christopher Columbus.
Blessings of the breast and of the womb.
Okay, going back again to the fertility. Okay, blessings of the breast and of the womb, having a lot of children. Okay, nurturing them with the milk that comes out the woman's breast. 21 to 33.
The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren.
Okay, so now let's finish reading in the book. All right, so from a distance he could see that on the exact spot where he had buried the truth. Okay, and again that's metaphoric. He buried the truth. Okay, meaning he destroyed all the elders who knew the truth, that they were the true Israelites, the true Jews. Okay, and that's how he buried them. He buried the truth because it's actually literally too, because by killing the old men, our forefathers, okay, of the tribe of Ephraim, Israelites that knew the truth that they were the Israelites, he buried by killing them, he buried the truth with them. Okay, and they were able to teach all the other generations what they wanted them to learn, which is what we're taught today. Our children are taught today in school. That Christopher Columbus was a hero. That he's the one who discovered America. How do you discover something that people were already living here? Okay, that's all falsehoods that they teach our children. That's why we are here, the Israelite men, the prophets of the Most High God, edifying our people, edifying our nations. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay. So it says from a distance he could see that the exact spot where he had buried the truth was a strong and beautiful tree. Okay, what did the Bible say we were? A fruitful bough. Bough is another word for a tree. It's spelled B-O-U-G-H. Okay, all right. Moreover, there was a crowd of peasants with machetes, shovels, and hoes. The tyrant's heart pounded against his chest. He was afraid. Because like I said in the scriptures, our strength was going to abode. He was going to give us enough strength to fight them back so that we won't be extinct as a nation. The tyrant's heart pounded against his chest. He was afraid. Even as he walked toward the tree, it grew taller and taller. The peasants raised their tools and let out a cry. The tyrant could see that the roots of the tree went deep into the rich earth. The trunk of the tree was too wide to put his arms around, and his branches were long and powerful. Give me Genesis 49 and 22.
Genesis 49, verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well.
Okay, remember it said a tree. Okay, the tyrant saw a tree that kept growing and growing. Okay, the bow. Go ahead.
By a well whose branches run over the wall.
Go ahead.
The archers have sorely grieved him. They shot at him and hated him.
Go ahead.
But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob.
Go ahead.
From thence is the shepherd the stone of Israel. Even by the God of thy father who shall help thee, and by the Almighty who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, and blessings of the breast and of the womb.
Let's go to Revelation 11 and 11. Okay, this is the New Testament. Okay, the last book of the Bible. Okay, go ahead.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11.
Go ahead.
And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them.
3 days and a half, meaning after 350 years. Go ahead.
And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Okay, so great fear fell upon them. When you read here, let's read it again. Great fear fell upon the Spaniards when they saw us rising up. Okay, from a distance he could see that on the exact spot where he had buried the truth, there was a strong and beautiful tree. Moreover, there was a crowd of peasants with machetes, shovels, and hoes. Those peasants are referring to us, the Israelites. The tyrant's heart pounded against his chest. He was afraid. Read that part again.
And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Great fear fell upon them which saw them. He was afraid, it says here in the book. Even as he walked toward the tree, it grew taller and taller. Go ahead, read. That's all of 11?
Yeah, that's all of 11.
Okay, so an exceeding great army. So that's what we're doing here. It's prophecy that we're going to come back together as an exceeding great army, okay, and take what's always been rightfully ours, the world, which the Most High God made for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. You are the Israelites, the true Jews. Now, it says, there were millions of budding branches, each one distinct, and yet they were one and the same. Give me Jeremiah 29, 12 and 9.
Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
So Christ says his heritage, which are the Israelites, okay, the one nation that he chose to be his nation, only one that the Bible's for, the only nation that the Bible's for, and the only nation that everlasting salvation is for. Okay, he says, mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. When you go ahead and you Google speckled bird and you click on images, you'll see that the speckled birds, although they're one species, they all look differently. Just like the so-called Hispanics. We're one species, we're one nation, nation of Israel, but we all look differently. We come in different shades. Okay, some of us look like maybe we're Caucasian. Okay, but the scripture says you are who your father is, according to Numbers 1:18. The seed of your father makes your nation. Okay, some of us may look like we're so-called African Americans. Okay, speckled birds, same species, but we all look different. Okay?
The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour.
Okay, so now from there, finish reading. It says, for hundreds of years, foreign tyrants have dominated Puerto Rico. Okay, they have used every means possible to try to bury the truth about Puerto Rico. What's that truth again? That you are the Israelites, that you so-called Hispanics, okay, you so-called Puerto Ricans are from the tribe of Ephraim. If you're Dominican, you're from the tribe of Simeon. The Cubans are from the tribe of Manasseh. If you're a Colombian, okay, Peruvian, okay, you're from the tribe of Asher. Okay, if you're Brazilian, you're from the tribe of Asher. If you're Argentinian or Chilean, you're from the tribe of Naphtali. Okay, if you're a Native American or Seminole Indian, you're from the tribe of Gad and Reuben. Okay, that's the truth that they would try to bury. Okay, for hundreds of years, foreign tyrants have dominated Puerto Rico. They have used every means possible to try to bury the truth about Puerto Rico, because they know once we wake up as a nation, their rulership is over. That's in the Bible, thus saith the Lord. He just read it in 2 Ezra 6. Okay, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followed. Jacob meaning the Israelites. Okay, all right. So it says they have tried to bury the truth that Puerto Rico was and still is today an oppressed nation, a colony, a land imprisoned by foreign tyrants. The only ones that benefited from the conquering of Christopher Columbus and conquistadors are the Europeans and so-called white people. Okay, they're the only ones that have benefit. Okay, they took the land that was given to us by the Most High God, okay, and used it for themselves, just like in America. Deuteronomy 28, 33, 20, and then 29.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
What's the word it used?
Oppressed and crushed always.
Okay, let's see if the book uses the same word. It says, they have tried to bury the truth that Puerto Rico was and still is today an oppressed nation. What does the scripture say?
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
We shall be oppressed and crushed always. That's one of the curses. Okay, the Bible's a true book. It correlates with history. Go ahead.
So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see.
Okay, 29.
Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness.
So what does it say we're going to grope at noonday? Noonday is the sun is the brightest, okay, at noonday. But we're going to grope, okay? We're going to walk around in blindness and darkness as the blind walk in what's it say?
And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness.
As the blind gropeth in darkness, okay? What does that mean? That's metaphoric, okay? That's using an analogy, saying that we're going to be asleep. We're going to be blind to who we really are, okay? According to the Bible. We're the Israelites, the Bible speaks. Okay?
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
And we shall not prosper in our ways, okay? It says it right here. That Puerto Rico was and still is today an oppressed nation, a colony, a land imprisoned by foreign tyrants, okay?
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Okay, no man shall save us, okay, because many have tried. You had the Young Lords, which is the so-called Puerto Rican movement. Okay, you had the Brown Berets, which is the so-called Mexican movement. Okay, the so-called blacks had the Black Panthers. Okay, the Native Americans had the AIM movement, all designed to go ahead and uplift our people and get us out of the conditions that we're in. But the Most High God said, none of those, no man's going to save us. The only one that's going to save us, the only man that's going to save us is Jesus the Christ, the Black Messiah. That's the only one that's going to save us according to the Bible. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 30.
No, that's it. That was 29. Okay, so we finished reading the book. From the late 15th to the late 19th century, Puerto Rico was a colony of the Spanish Empire, meaning the Spaniards under Christopher Columbus colonized, took over. That's a nice word to say that they took over our land. Again, I used the analogy before. You own the house. Okay, somebody comes in, knocks on the door and says, I love your house, I'm taking it. And now you're going to be put out. That's exactly what happened to our forefathers. That's exactly what happened to you so-called Hispanics. Okay? It says Puerto Rico was a colony of Spanish Empire. The land, labor, and resources were controlled by Spain. Remember it said everything that we had, we were going to build it, but we were not going to benefit from it. Since 1898, Puerto Rico has been a direct colony of the U.S. U.S. corporations have exploited the wealth of the island and the labor of the Puerto Rican people. So you thought it was over maybe with the Spaniards who are Europeans. Okay, guess what? America came in, the so-called white man again, under a different name, and came and did the same thing to Puerto Rico and Caribbean and North Central and South America. Okay, give me Deuteronomy 28, 31 to 34.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes,
Go ahead.
and thou shalt not eat thereof.
Go ahead.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
Go ahead.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt not have none to rescue them.
Okay, go ahead. That's happened when the Spaniard came to conquer us, and it happened when America conquered our forefathers, Native Americans. Go ahead.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people,
Okay.
and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day
Why?
long,
Because they were going to be taken into slavery.
and there shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Okay, so I use the analogy of the house. You built your house, you worked hard to finally own a house. Somebody comes in and takes it from you and says, now it's mine, and you're out of the cold homeless. Same example. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always,
Go ahead.
so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see.
That's 34.
Yes.
Okay, give me Lamentations 5, 1 through 4, and then 5 through 16. Okay, so here's some more proof in the Bible prophecy that was going to happen to the so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Hispanics when Christopher Columbus came. Okay,
Lamentations chapter 5 verse 1. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
what's that inheritance is talking about? The land of Puerto Rico, the land of Cuba, the land of Santo Domingo. Okay, which the original name was Quisqueya. Okay, the original name of Puerto Rico was Borinquen, which again is a Hebrew word which means land of the brave lords. Boricua means brave. Okay, that was our inheritance that the Most High God gave us. Okay, and it said what? Our inheritance was going to be what?
Turned to strangers.
Turned to strangers, the Spaniards. Okay, America. Okay, go ahead.
Our houses to aliens.
Our houses to aliens, yet they call us illegal aliens. You see everything going on right now. They're saying send the illegal aliens back. Okay, this was our true homeland. A lot of y'all don't know Mexico started all the way from the border of Canada all the way on down to where it's at today. And over time, when the Europeans came, okay, they tried to befriend us, okay, but it was all part of the whole grand scheme to go ahead and conquer us, okay, and take over our lands, all right. And look where Mexico is today, and look how they're living impoverished, okay. You Mexicans are from the tribe of Issachar, according to the Bible. Okay, you're an Israelite. You're the true Jews. Go ahead.
We are orphans and fatherless.
Why are we orphans and fatherless? Because they killed our fathers, okay, our forefathers, okay. We are fatherless because we had no fathers as a result of the atrocities that the Spaniards did. Go ahead.
Our mothers are as widows.
Our mothers are as widows again, same reason. Okay, they killed their husbands, which were our forefathers. Go ahead.
We have drunken our water for money.
We drunk our water for money. Okay, why did we drink our water for money? Okay, because that was our water. Okay, yet they went ahead and took over it and sold it back to us. Same thing today. Water's a free resource. Why do we want to drink any type of healthy water? You got Aquafina, Poland Springs. Okay, they've monopolized. The so-called white man has done that. Okay, go ahead.
Our wood is sold unto us.
All right, all right. Our wood is sold unto us. Okay, the same wood that we labored. Okay, we went ahead and the so-called white man took from us. Go ahead.
Our necks are under persecution.
Our necks are under persecution. The so-called white man always has us under persecution. So-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans. Go ahead.
We labor and have no rest.
We labor and have no rest because we work hard 12, 15 hours and still, okay, behind the 8 ball in our bills. Okay, that's all part of the curses, but the so-called white man has been used by Most High God to do it. Okay.
We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians.
Why have we? What does that mean? Okay, the Egyptians were one of the slavery captivities we were in. The Assyrians was another captivity we were in. We give it to them because we give our hand to America. Okay, we trust in them. Okay, to go ahead and take care of us. But that's contrary to the Bible. Okay, the only one we need to trust in is the Most High God. Okay, Jesus Christ, the Black Messiah. Okay.
Our fathers have sinned and are not.
Okay, our fathers are sinned and they're no more around, so we're paying for our forefathers' sins. Go ahead.
And that we have borne their iniquities.
Okay, we have borne their iniquities. Born means to carry. We carry their sins, and that's why we're suffering today. Go ahead.
Servants have ruled over us.
Servants have ruled over us, all right? What does that mean? Give me Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. Okay, servants, because the so-called other nations, predominantly the so-called white men, they're the servants. Okay, they're supposed to be the servants, and when Christ returns, everything's going to go back to its rightful place. Okay, they will go ahead and go back into servitude. Okay, as it says in Revelation 13 and 9 and 10.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 7.
Okay, let's see what King Solomon, our black forefather, okay, the son of King David, what he said. Okay.
I have seen servants upon horses.
He seen what?
I have seen servants upon horses.
Why does he use that analogy? Because kings, when you're in rulership, on top of a horse represents rulership, that you're in charge. But yet he said he saw servants on top of that, okay? You go down to the Museum of Natural History in Central Park West in Manhattan, you have Teddy Roosevelt. You see a statue right in front with Teddy Roosevelt, okay, one of the presidents, on top of a horse. And to his right and to his left, he has a Native American and a so-called African American. He has the tribe of Judah, and the tribe of Ephraim, walking side by side, the true kings of this world. Okay, yet he has a servant, Teddy Roosevelt, on top of the horse. Go look at that at Central Park West, Museum of Natural History. Go ahead.
And princes walking as servants upon the earth.
There you go, princes walking as servants. That statue represents that. They don't do things by coincidence. That's to continue, just like these replicas that they built, so that the so-called white people can recognize that, you know what, we're still in rulership. This is to keep it in their mind and remembrance for the generations that come afterwards. Let's go finish Lamentations. Where were you at?
Lamentations chapter 5, verse 8. Servants have ruled over us.
Servants are ruling over us. Right now, the Caucasians, the Europeans, they rule over us and the other nations, but predominantly the so-called white man. Okay, the Most High calls them servants. Okay, guess what? They will be our servants when Christ returns. Go ahead.
There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand.
Okay, there's nobody that could deliver us out of their hand. Scripture said before, no man will save us. Go ahead.
We get our bread with the peril of our lives.
Okay, we fight every day. We get our bread, meaning our income, our house, roof over our head, with the perils of our life. We don't know what the next day is going to bring for a lot of us. Go ahead.
Because of the sword of the wilderness.
Because of the sword of the wilderness. Go ahead.
Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine.
Okay, skin was black like an oven. More proof, okay, that the true Israelites, okay, are people of color. Okay, we come in different shades of brown, from very light to very dark of brown. Okay, go ahead.
They ravished the women in Zion.
They ravished, they went ahead and they raped. When the Spaniards came, they raped our foremothers. Okay, go ahead.
And the maids in the cities of Judah.
Go ahead.
Princes are hanged up by their hands.
Princes are hanged up by their hands. When you see the book Bartolomé de las Casas, a Spanish priest, a friar, okay, he drew all the depictions of the atrocities that the Spaniards did. And one of the pictures is he shows them hanging. They used to hang us by 13. 12 for the 12 disciples and 13 for Jesus Christ. That was all mocking who we really are, the Israelites. Right?
The faces of elders were not honored.
The faces of elders were not honored. They killed the old, but they had the wisdom. Go ahead.
They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood.
Go ahead.
The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music.
Okay, we're going to 16.
The joy of our heart is ceased, our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head.
The crown is fallen from our head. Why? Because we are the kings of the earth. Scripture says in Exodus 19:6, we are a kingdom of priests. Okay? But we're going to be put back in our rightful rulership place when Christ returns. Okay? Go ahead.
Woe unto us that we have sinned.
Woe unto us, destruction unto us that we have sinned. But we're here to go ahead and edify people by showing our true history to our people. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Finish reading the book. Okay. The story of Puerto Rico is a story of struggle, change, and upheaval. It is a story of an unbroken drive for freedom, because we're not free, brothers and sisters. Okay, we're still under the captivity of the white man. Okay, we're only trying to be free when we repent as Israelite men and women, start following the law, statutes, and commandments, as it says in 1 Kings 8, okay, 46 and 49, okay, and come together as a nation, as an exceeding great army, as it said in Revelation 11:11. Okay, it is a story of an unbroken drive for freedom. The Puerto Rican people have resisted foreign domination from the 15th century, 1492, until today, and we're still an oppressed people under the rule of the white man. Okay, the tree of the Puerto Rican nation, the tree of life and liberty, the tree of liberation proclaims the truth. The people have been enslaved. Okay, and now we may not have the physical yokes on our mind. Give me that, Deuteronomy 28:48. But spiritually, we have been enslaved because they've taken over our mind. That's why they took the yokes of iron off of our neck. Okay, because they knew we were destroyed as a people.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48.
Right.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst.
Okay, hunger, because if you want to go ahead and eat, man, you got to go to the enemy, the so-called white man. Go ahead. And thirst, the same thing. Go ahead.
And in nakedness and in want of all things.
To clothe our bodies, we got to go to the so-called white man. Go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke up.
And in want of all things, it said, right, you want a license, you want a marriage certificate, okay? Anything you want, you got to get permission from the so-called white man. Go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Okay, he put a yoke of iron. We weren't slaves. You look at our shirts right here. This is history right here. Okay, you so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native American, the so-called white man had you enslaved with yokes of iron on your neck. Okay, the scripture says what?
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Okay, and the yokes of iron came off, okay, once we were destroyed as a people. 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, we already knew we were destroyed as a people. So much so that Harriet Tubman was quoted as saying she could have saved more slaves if they only knew that they were slaves. Okay, they wanted to go back. They didn't know any better. Okay, they wanted to go back to master. Okay, is that it on that?
Yes.
Okay, give me Hosea 4:6. All right, because what you people need to understand, you so-called black, Hispanic Americans, that we destroyed for the lack of knowledge. But we hear the men, the prophets of the Most High God, true Israelite men, coming here to wake you people up, wake up our brothers and sisters to come back to your true nationality, your true heritage. Okay, Okay, so you can get everlasting salvation.
Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Okay, y'all destroyed for lack of knowledge, but we're bringing out the knowledge first and foremost from the Holy Bible and historical facts from books that were not written, okay, but written by the white scholars. Okay, proof that you so-called Hispanics are the Israelites from the 10 tribes of Israel. Okay, that you so-called blacks are from the tribe of Judah. Okay, you so-called Jamaicans, you Haitians, so-called Native Americans. You are the true Israelites, the true Jews the Bible speaks of. And we're here today to bring that to you and this exhibit of our captors, of our oppressors, Christopher Columbus and the 2 ships that he carried us away captives and came over to conquer us. So we hope this video was edifying to you. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.